Something outside of me, some person or circumstance, is controlling the way I feel and the way I think. And anything that's controlling the way you feel and think makes you victim to your environment. Now, that unconscious program then means that a person who's living by that every day will be more susceptible to any condition in their environment, because it's their response to the environment that is squandering the amount of energy they need to heal. So then in order for them to heal, then they have to turn the battleship around and say, well, wait a second. I could complain, that would be normal and natural. I have 1,000 reasons to be unhappy, but instead of allowing my environment to control how I think and feel, what if how I think and feel can produce an effect in my environment? Now, all of a sudden, the game changes, because you are going to inhibit those thoughts, behaviors, and emotions. And in the moment where, whether it's justified or valid or not, for you to be angry, frustrated, fearful, sad, pain, whatever, to no longer allow your environment to control it, and you begin to self-regulate, and that's adaptability. And we teach people that you could actually develop this skill. And when you do it properly and you get back into that kind of heart and brain coherence, you save yourself from going unconscious for the remainder of the day and running some type of program. So it feels unnatural in the beginning, because basically the hardest part about change is not making the same choice as you did before. And the moment you decide to make a different choice, buckle up, because it's going to feel uncomfortable. It's going to feel unfamiliar. You are going to leave known territory and you're stepping into the unknown. Now, most people, their habituations and their conditioning of remembering something from the past, and that memory is just thoughts of different people and circumstances, different things at certain times and places, tattooed in the recesses of their gray matter. So the moment they think of their problems, they're thinking in the past. But every one of those past experiences has an emotion associated with it. So they start off in the morning thinking about their problems. And the moment they feel unhappy, now their body's in the past, because thoughts are the language of the brain and feelings are the language of the body. And it's that feeling then that drives their thoughts, that produces more of the feeling. And their state of being is literally in the past. So the moment you decide to make a different choice, you're stepping out of known territory, because that conditioning process is conditioning the body to subconsciously become the mind of that emotion. And now the body's literally in the past. So when you step out into the unknown, and now game is on, because you're going to hear the voices and you're going to hear the chatter and you're going to hear the sub-vocalizations for one reason, because the body emotionally is trying to convince you to think consistent with that emotion. So you make the same choice, you demonstrate the same behavior, you create the same experience to reaffirm that same emotion. And then people say, well, this feels right. No, that feels familiar. So then after 10 years of research, we came down to a very clear understanding what to do and why to do it. And I think if you understand the what and the why, the how gets easier. And I think science has become kind of the contemporary language of mysticism. I think science is what demystifies the mystical. And if you start talking tradition or culture, or you start talking religion, you're going to divide a community. And yet, when you give people the right kind of information, and they can repeat it and understand it and set up the conditions and the environment for them to actually practice, and they understand that it's a formula. Once you get beyond educated mind and you become conscious and you begin to interact with that intelligence, that innate intelligence, and give it a plan, a template, and then surrender and get out of the way and allow that autonomic nervous system to begin to function, we have seen dramatic changes in autonomic function. We're talking about significant changes in stage 4 cancers or MS or lupus. There's a dramatic change. And the premise is really simple. And that is, your personality creates your personal reality. That's it.
The more you watch our spiritual videos, the lessons will sink in different ways. You'll also meet new ideas at different times in your lives when you're ready to hear them. This is what we tell you in the next part of the video.
I love being with people that want to put it to the test. And when you do, I'm always astounded by how unlimited human beings are. You can't tell me you had a turbulent past. There are people that have had brutal pasts that are happy, healthy, well-adjusted people. You can't tell me you're too overweight, too underweight. I've seen it in all shapes, sizes, and it's an amazing thing, because once you start reasoning it and you start thinking about it, it does make sense. And when it starts making sense to people, then they can begin to assign more meaning behind what they're doing and put more intention behind it. And one of the things that has to happen is that you can't control the outcome. In other words, it's not going to happen the way you think it should, because that's a known. You got to be open to having it happen in a way that you can't predict. And that means you got to lay down the very thing you use your whole life to get what you want for something greater to occur. And that's something we have to work on as well. But step by step, people make these brilliant changes by changing their identity. Information is the biggest way to reach people, and I now know that if you give people sound scientific information, and every time we learn something new, we make new connections in our brain. Research shows that 1 hour of focused concentration on a concept or an idea doubles the number of connections in your brain. That you have physical evidence, you're installing new hardware. Experience further enriches the circuitry in your brain. That's what experience does, it enhances circuitry. And the end product of an experience is an emotion. Now all of a sudden you start to feel unlimited, you start to feel inspired, you start to feel abundant, you start to feel empowered, whatever the feeling is. Now you're teaching your body emotionally to understand what your mind is intellectually understood. So knowledge is for the mind and experience is for the body. And in that moment you're beginning to embody the truth of that philosophy, that theory. And you're literally signaling new genes in new ways. The body's getting new information. And that new information is what's selecting, instructing the gene. And genes make proteins, and proteins are responsible for the structure and function of your body, and the expression of proteins is the expression of life. So all of a sudden you make new hormones, new enzymes, you make new tissue. The body's, you're beginning to become the very thing that you're putting your attention on. Now, if you've done it once, you should be able to do it again. And if you can repeat an experience over and over again, you're going to neurochemically condition your mind and body to begin to work as one. And when you've done something so many times that your body now knows how to do it as well as your mind, now it's innate in you. It's automatic. It's second nature. It's a skill. It's a habit. It's who you become. It's who you are. Now you're beginning to master that philosophy. You're embodying it.